Now at 6, Joplin looks for solutions to help hundreds of the city's homeless students. Plus, Mercy in Columbus cuts the ribbon on a brand new physical therapy building. And dozens of front porches in a historic Joplin neighborhood are set to become concert stages this weekend.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Joplin's getting ready for the 7th edition of North Heights Porch Fest. This is KOAM News at 6. I'm Dow Quick. On Saturday, almost 50 bands will be playing in more than 40 front porches around that historic neighborhood. KOAM's Fernandez Silva shows us how North Heights is getting ready for that event.
In the last 7 years, the beginning of fall has felt like spring for some of the North Heights residents.
People are out and about putting flowers out, cleaning up their yards, making things nicer. So a lot of people just do, a little spring cleaning, but in the fall.
The reason for that, North Heights Porch Fest. For organizers and volunteers, the event is a chance to showcase and to invite people to explore the historic neighborhood.
If you look at real estate listings around in the area, a lot of people specifically mention Porch Fest as something that's amazing about this neighborhood. It has really drawn people in. We've had people move here just because of Porch Fest. It's amazing.
According to organizers, if you want to check every single stage in the event, that's possible because everything is in a walkable distance of about 5 blocks. Here on this street, for example, all the 3 houses behind me will host bands.
I just wanted to bring attention to the neighborhood and bring some pride into the neighborhood. And the neighbors get out and walk around and you meet your neighbors.
On his 5th year turning his porch into a stage, Steve Brunson will have Caleb Miller and the Vagabond Grove as one of the attractions.
Here I've got some friends coming from out of town, and so we're going to walk around. I'll make sure they got everything they need, and then I'm going to walk around and enjoy the bands, but I'll listen to my own.
For Miller, the Porch Fest is one of the coolest events in town, and an opportunity to put his band in the spotlight.
Exposure is huge because not every song and not every band is for everyone. So you've got to find your people, and if you can get in front of 200-300 people in a day, you're probably going to find a few.
We have so many talented people here. It's truly incredible and heartening to see how many wonderful artists and musicians that Southwest Missouri can provide.
With just a few days before his house becomes a concert venue, Brunson is looking forward to seeing people enjoying the area.
People gather out here in the streets and you get to see the little kids dancing, and it's just a good time.
In Joplin, Fernandez Silva, KOAM News.
Country, blues, rock, pop, and classical are just some of the genres neighborhoods and visitors are going to be able to enjoy. More than 10 food trucks and 20 artists will also join that event. You can find details on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. And we're going to tell you about some other fun family events around the area this weekend a little bit later in this broadcast. Right now, it's going to be fall-like. Out in the weather out there, let's check in with Doug Heddy.
Yeah, the weather's going to be fantastic as we head into the weekend. It looks good right now. Most of us sitting into the mid 70s on the Missouri side. Once you get into Oklahoma and also Kansas, upper 70s to lower 80s. But we're going to drop back as we go through the next couple days. Pretty much clear skies. Not much is going on here. All of our rain that we had earlier is rolling off toward the east. But here's our next storm system. Not really rain for us, but it drops in a strong cold front that is going to start to cool us down tomorrow. All right, this evening, if you are getting out, dropping back through the 70s, 60s, pretty much clear skies. Eventually, we'll bottom out near 50 degrees later on tonight. But we could be talking about possible frost as we get into the weekend. Of course, I'm going to give you those details here in just a little bit.
See you soon. Over the past few years, the population of students in the Joplin district who are considered to be homeless has risen. The district uses the McKinney-Vento definition of homelessness, which defines the term as individuals who lack a fixed, regular, and adequate nighttime residence. According to Tara Porter, the caseworker for the district, 420 Joplin students currently fall under that qualification.
The majority of our students are really doubled up living with like another family member, a friend because of economic crisis. We have students in shelters currently, in motels, transitional living. So it's more like that.
KOAM's Anthony Saviello is going to bring us a lot more on this story tonight at 10. A U.S. Senator made an appearance today at some southeast Kansas schools. One of the stops for Senator Jerry Moran of Kansas was at Labette County Community College. The senator tells us he made the trips to see how our local schools are doing.
We're trying to find resources, dollars, to help our community colleges and technical colleges. I think there's a lot of potential for growth. Every business I visit in Kansas, but certainly here, tells me we could expand and grow if we just had more workers who are trained and ready, capable of working.
Senator Moran also visited Labette County High School in Altamont and Southeast High School in Cherokee. Mercy Hospital Columbus hosted a ribbon cutting and formal blessing ceremony today to celebrate the opening of a new outpatient physical therapy building. That new 2,400 square foot building quadruples the space that was previously available for outpatient physical therapy inside Mercy Hospital Columbus.
And it's just right here in town. And now with this space, we've been able to bring more equipment, offer more services, where even, before we were able to see them to some degree, but we were just so locked on what we could do to expand. So this has been amazing.
The new space is not physically connected to Mercy Columbus, but is located directly adjacent at 111 Sycamore Street. Coming up, the Pitt State Gorillas begin preparations for Week 6 on the football field. John's going to have details for us later in sports. Plus, a Little Rock police officer faces felony charges following a shooting.
Full morning, Scotty, and we have an early game. The Second Amendment.
A police officer in Little Rock, Arkansas faces felony charges after shooting and injuring a man. Brenda Lipinski has more.
26-year-old Little Rock police officer Giovanni McClendon facing charges of battery and assault in the first degree after shooting at a fleeing vehicle driven by 20-year-old Brendan Johnson.
The body-worn camera video and in-car video cameras were reviewed by command staff and myself. There is no doubt the actions of Officer McClendon are outside department's policy related to the use of deadly force.
Chief Heath Helton says it all started Saturday morning in southwest Little Rock.
Southwest patrol officers became involved in a vehicle pursuit of a white Dodge Challenger that ended near the 8400 block of Mableville Pike. Officers lost sight of that vehicle, but a short time later were able to locate it abandoned in the area of Mableville Drive and Mableville Circle. As officers searched the immediate area,
police say they noticed another pickup truck circling the area attempting to leave and stop the vehicle, approaching it with weapons drawn. According to police, the driver complied by getting out of the truck, but Johnson, who was in the back seat, moved to the front seat and started to flee. Johnson started to pull away, and shots were fired by Officer McClendon, and which ultimately hit Mr. Johnson.
Mr. Johnson was commanded by officers to stop and get out of the vehicle, but he refused. Mr. Johnson started to pull away. Shots were fired by Officer Giovanni. The use of deadly force is usually a split-second decision when it comes time to law enforcement. There's no margin for error in order to ensure that both our community and our society can trust and depend on law enforcement. If and when such incidents occur, we must do everything possible to hold that our officer and our department are accountable to the community, the law, and our policies.
According to Little Rock Police Department's policy on deadly force, discharging firearms at moving or fleeing vehicles is prohibited unless necessary to prevent imminent death or serious physical injury. Pulaski County Prosecuting Attorney Will Jones saying although McClendon is an officer, he's given the same rights as any individual and is considered innocent until proven guilty.
A little bit later, fall is a time for festivals and festivities, and we have some suggestions for you and your family to enjoy this weekend.
Plus, temperatures really dropping off as we head into the weekend. Those details coming up next.
I wish for the amazing Mansion Theater for the Performing Arts in Branson.
Well, we got some showers, even some thunderstorms for us last night and some morning rain. Then we've broken out quite a bit of sunshine for us today. It looks great. Nice shot. Indigo Sky Casino and Resort, of course. Our evening daylight hours continue to shrink up on us, getting darker earlier and earlier, but this evening, if you want to get out, it looks fantastic. All right, rainfall, only about 1/10 of an inch since midnight for the month. We're sitting at 1.33 inches. Always on Thursday, our new drought tracker comes out, and everybody south of I-44, you have no drought concerns, and even Joplin and Pittsburgh are looking pretty good. Still very dry once you get up toward Nevada and out toward Iola, Chanute, Independence, but at least we're putting a pretty big dent into the drought that we've been in for, gosh, almost a year and a half. All right, 78 in Nevada, 76 in Neosho. We have 78 at Grand Lake. We have Pittsburgh, 76 degrees. Looks pretty good. 7th and Rangeline sitting at 76. Northerly winds at about 6 miles per hour, and those winds are going to pick up for us during the daytime hours tomorrow due to this cold front that's going to start to head toward us. Fairly strong front. There's a lot of cold air behind it, and that is going to really funnel in. So this is going to give us our first cold snap of the fall season. All right, as we go through the evening hours, sliding through the 70s, 60s, eventually near 50 later on tonight. Couple little clouds rotating through, but in general, it looks pretty good. Once you get to our north, that's where we're seeing that next system. All right, rain we had earlier gone. This system doesn't have a lot of moisture with it, but we are going to get some clouds. We may get a sprinkle, but it is going to bring in that cooler air as it sinks in over the next 24 hours. So it moves across the Great Lakes on the backside. We get the winds and that cooler air. And with the flow out of the northwest all the way through the weekend, we get very nice fall-like temperatures across the entire region. All right, let me walk you through your next 48 hours. Near 50 when you wake up in the morning. Here come the clouds. The winds pick up. This is the noon hour. We can't rule out a couple little sprinkles. Temperatures are going to be into the mid to upper 60s, and then we drop through the afternoon. So by evening, we're going to be down into the 50s. And then tomorrow night, clear skies, the winds will die down all the way down into the upper 30s, 39 in Stockton, 37 in Miami, 37 in Neosho, 35 in Iola. So we could get some patchy frost across the region. As we go into Saturday, just fantastic sunny skies, high temps into lower 60s. All right, day planner for you tomorrow. 50 in the morning, high of 68, dropping into the 50s by evening. You can see the winds will really pick up with this cold front that is going to rotate through. But high school football looks pretty good. You need the hoodie for sure. 53 at kickoff, 46 by the end of the games. All right, 68 tomorrow, 62 Saturday after a 39-degree start. Sunday's going to be great. 71 sunny, 74 on Monday. Rain chances back in by the middle of next week.
A lot of furnaces are going to kick on, if not tonight, then tomorrow night for the first time this season. So people need to make sure those vents aren't covered by anything flammable.
True. I'm just going to ride it out. It'll be fine.
Will you? Okay. Bad advice. Don't follow that. Thanks, Doug. You can find plenty of fun family events to ride out this weekend. You can see migrating pelicans at Grove, Oklahoma's Pelican Fest. The carnival there opens at Wolf Creek Park tonight with more activities planned tomorrow and Saturday. In Fort Scott, Kansas, the annual Gordon Parks celebration began today, continues through Saturday at the Gordon Parks Museum. The Baxter Springs, Kansas Civil War encampment will be held on the grounds of the Baxter Springs Heritage Center and Museum and the historic Fort Blair site. That's going to be on Saturday and Sunday. And the Columbus Day Festival runs Saturday through Monday in Columbus, Kansas. Weather permitting, a highlight is always the colorful hot air balloon regatta. Check it all out if you can. Still ahead, softball is 2 wins away from a trip to the state tournament in Miami. And Pitt State football is ready for its biggest test of the season. John Dales has those stories and more up next.
The Performing Arts
Experience at Bath, Naylor, and Frisco Funeral Homes.
Pitt State football holds the #3 rank in the country, and this Saturday gets its biggest test of the season so far. Number 20 Emporia State comes to Carney Smith Stadium, and in a matchup that was decided by just 1 point last year, the Gorillas are glad to get the Hornets at home this time around.
That's a big advantage. Playing here in front of our crowd, our support, it's great. I think anytime that any team comes into this environment, it kind of fuels them too because of how great the environment is. Last year, we started off pretty strong, had some good drives, had some good momentum, had a few turnovers that kind of shut it down. So just going into this week, we've had a few good days of practice so far. We got to keep that going today and tomorrow, and we'll be ready.
Last year, they certainly shut us down, and they got a few turnovers. You know, we drove the ball at times and did a nice job with our balance on offense. But when it came down to it, we got down to the red zone a couple times and couldn't punch it in, and threw a pick in the end zone. So we got to do a better job of taking care of the football, certainly.
Saturday will be the first matchup against a ranked opponent for the Gorillas in 2023. PSU beat Central Missouri 38-37 back in week 3, who was unranked at the time, but now is the number 18 team in the country. If the Gorillas need to win on Saturday to stay in sole possession of first place in the MIAA. Right now, they're the only team unbeaten in conference play. Over to high school softball. Last week, Miami won a regional title at home. Now the Lady War Dogs are one step away from advancing to the state tournament. To get there, they need to win the best-of-3 super regional against Weatherford. Game 1 wrapping up about 45 minutes ago. The Lady War Dogs fall 2-1. Miami scores the first run of the game, just 2 pitches in. Hayden Pilkington scores after being hit by a pitch, then Sydney Forrester reaching on an error. But the Lady War Dogs bats quieted from that point on. Weatherford now just 1 win away from going to state. That means game 2 is win or go home for Miami. It's getting started right now. If the Lady War Dogs are able to win this one, that forces a winner-take-all game 3 tomorrow. Whoever takes that one would advance to the state tournament. We'll have highlights from games 1 and 2 in Miami tonight at 10 right here on KOAM. High school football begins week 6 in Kansas this evening. Most of our local schools playing tomorrow night. Cherryville and Riverton get things started this evening, though. The Rams travel to play the Chargers on the road. Riverton entering at 2-3 after falling 27-0 to Parsons in our game of the week last Friday. Cherryville 3-2. The one common opponent between these two is Fredonia. The Chargers beat the Yellow Jackets 27-20 last week. Riverton beat them 57-6 a couple weeks ago. We also kick off week 5 of the NFL season tonight. The Bears head on the road to D.C. to face the Commanders. Chicago looking for its first win of the season. Bears fans watching with heavy hearts just announced about an hour ago that Hall of Fame Chicago linebacker Dick Butkus passes away today at the age of 80.
Wow, I hadn't heard that. That's
Yeah.
sad news for all fans.
It definitely is an iconic figure in the NFL.
Yes. We'll be right back.
Leader for New Country is 90.
George Hawkins Jr., a four-state hero.
Here's a look at what's coming up on KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 tonight. We're going to have more on how the Joplin School District is trying to help students facing homelessness. Plus, what's next for parents after pandemic-era federal funding for child care centers runs out, and what new research shows about the importance of diagnosing depression. Those stories, a lot more, of course. It's coming up tonight, KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. We have some chilly nights ahead of us.
We do. Even tonight, we're cooling down. We're going to drop back to about 50 degrees. 68 tomorrow, but dropping into the 50s by evening. And then 39 tomorrow night. We're going to have some patchy frost, and then only 62 on Saturday. But well-deserved weather. We haven't had a nice stretch of fall-like weather.
Yeah, got to get out those sweatshirts. Kind of like that. Final sports note.
We're going to have more on Miami softball fighting to stay alive, trying to go to the state tournament, playing game 2. Win or go home for them right now.
Very good. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you right back here at 10. Let's make it a great evening.